Okay, so obviously the first team players are in training, the under 18 players are in training, obviously playing matches, but younger down the age pyramid, obviously with the current lockdown in place. The coaches are not seeing them as regularly as they were, but they've come up with ways of keeping engaged and keeping the players very much involved. So, Michael, let's start with you. I mean, obviously, younger age groups, how do you keep them sort of in sync with what you want to do at Peterborough United?
Yeah, well, it's been a bit of a challenge, obviously, this time due to the weather and the amount of sort of homeschooling and stuff that's going on. So we've tried to sort of come up with sort of solutions where we stay connected with the boys. So we've done things like online quizzes. We've set them sort of running challenges that they can do with either older siblings or parents, just sort of getting them out of the house as much as possible, really. And then there's obviously been some ball mastery stuff that we've done as well. And a little bit later on at about 5 o'clock, we've got a sort of little fitness circuit session that we've got with them. So yeah, it's just to keep them active as much as possible, but also bearing in mind that there's a lot going on with sort of school work and parents working from home as well. So yeah.
And Paolo, just going to say, I mean, obviously during this period of time, you obviously can't be in face-to-face contact with them. But how have the lads sort of bought into what you want to do with them?
Yeah, so we've tended to do it on a if you can basis, because as Foxy said, we appreciate that there's a lot of strain on families. We've got homeschooling and also the weather at this time of year. So it's a case of if they can, it's great. But to be fair, the turnout has been positive. So we have Tuesday sessions where in the evening where we might do some nutrition and a baking in the kitchen. We've had a good turnout for that, and then Thursday sessions which are more fun-based, quizzes or fitness sessions, and we've had a big turnout for that. And then we've also had sessions where we've done like homework clubs, and we started it during the day for 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and just a case of just to hopefully allow the boys to stay focused for an hour and to kind of allow the parents to maybe focus on their other children.
You mentioned home baking. Now, is that something you've been leading yourself? Are you a master in the kitchen?
Yeah, so that's taken by Aaron. So he's our nutritionist, and he's literally cook along sessions with the lads.
And Elio, I guess that you have to be creative at this sort of time. There's no bad idea. There's nothing that isn't going to be sort of incorporated within their day, because ultimately the kids are at home. They're probably wanting something different from doing sort of maths and science and normal schoolwork.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's trying to find ways to engage them for an hour and perhaps try and give them something different to think about, so they can escape from what's going on around them. Because I think part of it, that's what they're missing from not being at training. When they come to football, they get to focus in that little world where they're just in that environment, and that's what they focus on. And I think part of it for me is just trying to take them away from what's going on and just give them something else to focus on for an hour. But with the slightly older lads that I deal with, sometimes they're a little bit more difficult to engage in that sense. So trying to do things that are perhaps slightly more relevant for them in terms of putting on fitness sessions. We've got one coming up this afternoon, and just try to think of different things to do for them.
I suppose the older kids, that they can be distracted a little bit more by TV programs, films, etc., whereas younger kids are all part of the, part of a family network. Is that the challenge, I suppose, to try and find the right thing to find for them? Yeah,
that's definitely it with the older kids. Like you said, they've got more distractions, especially socially, and perhaps they want to escape the house as well when they finish the school day. So maybe spending an hour with me on Zoom is not the thing that's top of their priority list. But I think they enjoy seeing each other. I think they miss that side of it. It's a big thing for them as well. The social interaction that they have with their teammates that they just don't get, and I think that's part of the attraction for them, even if it's perhaps not something that they might find the most interesting subject. Perhaps just a chance to spend an hour with the lads is enough for them.
Yeah, and Michael, obviously working with the younger lads, I guess from their point of view, it's part of the issue is for them to understand what situation they're in. I think people take for granted that kids are accepting of everything that's going on in the world. Is that something that you sort of have to sort of incorporate within that? That it is a strange time for everybody, but particularly for kids of the age that you're working with, because they just want to go out and play football.
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, they're the real sort of superstars in all this, because they just sort of get on with it, and they've taken it in their stride, and it must be so hard for them with the way their sort of season's gone. I mean, I've been lucky that obviously we've had a bit of time where we've come back in and we've played a bit of football, and then it's gone again, and then it's come back a little bit, and then so it's been a real struggle for some of them this year. But yeah, like they seem to just take it all in their stride, and they have obviously got real supportive parents that will take them out for a little kick around or go in their gardens and thing as much as they can. But yeah, they all sort of say that they're definitely missing it when we check in on them and everything. But hopefully, like I say, it won't be too long now until we can get them all back in and get some training and football doing, like you say, so they can escape from it all and do the thing that they love the most. So.
And Paolo, I guess as well, we're talking about the children, but from a coaching perspective as well, obviously, this is not something anyone had envisaged. So you must be missing the opportunity as a group, as all three of you, to be out there doing what you love as well.
Yeah, it's a challenge for everybody, and it's a case of that's what we love to do. But again, positively, we're using the time just to spend on ourselves, and we're doing a lot of CPD at the minute, a lot of Zoom calls with special guests. So we're using the time wisely, hopefully impact ourselves and learn something new. And hopefully it will reflect on the kids when they come back in.
Yeah, I see Craig and Cal Smith's been doing some stuff with the academy and talking through different things as well. And as I say, that's important. It's not just children developing, obviously coaches develop at this sort of time as well. And ultimately, I guess when things like this happen, you have to sort of pick up the baton and run with it, so to speak, and see what you can learn.
Yeah, well, we learned a lot from the first lockdown, and we learned to adapt really well. And I feel we've probably done a better job as a team to adapt even more to this third lockdown.
And Elio, I guess with the older kids as well, part of their challenges, I guess, is also about what they're missing out on. Because the older a child becomes as they go through an academy process, the more they're probably thinking, well, I've missed a year of football. How's that going to affect me? Is that certain things that you might get from parents and children as well, asking questions about their development?
Yeah, I definitely think that would be a concern of theirs, and I dare say it's a concern of ours as well, because like you said, once they get higher up the pyramid, the time seems to go faster for them, and they're not going to get this opportunity back. And it's about how can we try and maximize the time that they've got now, so when they do come back, the time that they have got, they maximize that also. So it's a difficult situation for them, and we've just got to try and take them through it as best as we can, and hope it doesn't affect them too much, and hope it still gets the outcomes that they need from it ultimately.
And Michael, you spoke about quizzes there. Who's setting these quizzes? Who's coming up with the questions? Because I'm looking across the three people that are on my screen at this moment in time and wondering where the speciality lies in terms of general knowledge. So who's setting these quizzes? Are you going online and getting them, or are you coming up with questions yourself?
Well, to be fair, I think from the first lockdown, I must have done about 50 quizzes, the most quizzes I've ever done. So I had a few layouts from before, so it's just tweaking a few questions and trying to make them sort of for the kids, if you like. We've had a few sort of football rounds and sort of Disney rounds and things that they can relate to, but they've really enjoyed it. I think it's a really good distraction, and there's obviously the competitive side of them trying to be the winner at the end of it as well. So yeah, they do really enjoy the quizzes.
And I guess this is all part of, everyone talks about how you can develop a person on the pitch, but development off the pitch is just as key. It always has been. And I guess your relationships with players at all levels, it shows how key it is at this point, because they're trusting you to basically get them through their days.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's obviously a big focus at the academy as well. We do try and, help them develop as people as well. But yeah, I mean, I've obviously with working in a school as well, I've had a few of the boys message me about help with their maths work or anything like that. And, we've got a real good relationship with the boys and the parents, and it just helps everything if you've got that good relationship with how they behave and how we get on and everything like that. So yeah, it's really good. It is really good.
Yeah, Paolo, you mentioned actually about the parents and sort of giving them a break for an hour or so in the day. And, you know, we talk about the children, as you say, parents need a break as well. They've been homeschooling for what feels like an eternity, I'm sure, and I'm sure some of you are in the same position as well. But just being able to take them out of that environment and the child be able to do something different for an hour must be a massive relief to them as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few positive messages to say thanks for what you're doing, and ultimately it's just a case of it's more that time for the players, you know, during the school day, because the boys ultimately jumping onto the Zoom calls, they're not in school, they're homeschooling. It gives them an opportunity to see everybody. We're mixing under 7s to under 11s, so the whole spectrum, and then yeah, the parents can go away and hopefully either spend some time, you know, whatever they want to do, or spend some time with the other kids, because you know, we know the parents sacrifice a lot, and they give a lot of time into the football and to their kids, which is fantastic. So hopefully this is just our way of maybe giving them a little bit of something else and giving the players more contact time.
And just finally, Elio, in terms of this whole, as I say, it's what we're about a year in now to the sort of global pandemic. You've obviously had more challenges in this year probably than you've had in your coaching career to date, I would guess. And I suppose you're just looking like everybody else is for the light at the end of the tunnel so you can get back to doing what you love, which has ultimately been on the pitch with the players.
Yeah, I think that's now we've got to this stage, like you said, after a year, and with the news about vaccines, and yesterday we're talking about schools coming back in a couple of months. You can start to see perhaps the end of it, or the start of the end of it, which is what we all want, and we wanted to get to this situation so we can, you know, start to look forward and start to think, right, well, we're actually going to come out of the other side of this now, and we can go back to normal or go back to a new normal, whichever way it is. And you know, that's really important for us, and really important for the players, because you know, we want to get back to coaching, get back to training, and you know, just try and get back as best as we can.